Hey guys, it's Friday night. That means it's Medium Nancy Matt's night, and we're going to be talking about pets in the afterlife. So if you're interested in that, you've had deceased pets before, there's a chance to find out what happens after they die. What, do they hang out with us? Or do they come back and forth, or how's that work? So it's a good chance to talk with Nancy about that. And she's also going to be doing some readings tonight. So have your one question ready to go. See you in about 5 minutes. grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust, turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? I'm doing good. It's overcast today, but the weather's nice. I always complain about the weather. The weather's nice. You guys remember Sacramento is weird because Sacramento has like two temperatures. Sacramento has like two temperatures. It's either really hot or it's miserably cold, but there is a middle, and we're going through the middle right now. But I guarantee you within a couple of weeks, it's going to be miserably cold. It's already dropped down. I know the people on the East Coast can laugh all they want. It's dropped down to 43 like 2 nights ago. So, I mean, it's starting to do it. But last night was in the 50s, so I was good with that. But I'm just waiting for that drop down. But I'm enjoying it because I really hate the heat. I just despise it. I'm not a heat person. Anyway, tonight, I didn't know who the hell I am, too. My name is Charlotte, and I'm your host for the next hour. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento. We are 45 strong up and down the state of California. We also have affiliates in Oregon, Washington, Nevada, and Hawaii. So if you need help in those states as well. But I want to welcome you all. If you're watching from Facebook tonight, please hit that follow button and share the show. Share it everywhere. We're looking to be shared. Share. If you're watching from YouTube, same thing. Hit that subscribe button. It's that little ghost in the bottom right-hand corner with the magnifying glass and the Sherlock Holmes hat on. Please subscribe. And if you have people around you that might be interested in this kind of format of a show, please have them share. Also, you'll find us on TikTok, California Haunts, all lowercase. You will find us over at Twitter under Cal Haunts. And you can find me over on Instagram under Ghosty Gal. I'm looking for followers over there as well. All right? Because what I'd like to do is take this show live and on the road. And I want to take it either on live and on the road on TikTok, or we're going to go live and on the road on Instagram, or even, well, I can do YouTube now, but those other two I would really like to get. So the more followers and subscribers I get, the more I can do it. Okay? The closer I'm going to get to doing it, actually. So I really appreciate it. I really appreciate everybody, even in the podcast. I appreciate them following. Last night, our guest couldn't make it. She's rescheduling for sometime in November. We did the read on that book. The book's getting more and more interesting. Tonight, Nancy and I are going to be talking about deceased pets and what happens when your pet dies. I know what happened when mine died. In fact, I've had a couple of them come back, and one, there have been two in particular that came back, and the one really surprised me. But I've had some interesting experiences that way with my pets. So I know they don't totally leave your side. They're always there. You know, you might, like if you had one that sat at your feet. I know I used to have one that passed away that sat at my feet, and I always find myself, and it's probably because she's there, I always find myself kind of every time I get out of a chair, I'm always looking down, you know, because I think I'm going to step on her. And this dog died probably 15 years ago. And I'm still looking down. You know, I've had my Maddie dog, Australian Kelpie, passed away. I see her. Reba died last year. I see her. I actually saw Pepper, who died in July of last year. Finally saw her, and she was doing what she always did, eating. That's how she was. So, I mean, I've had a lot of contact with them. We had a Chihuahua that used to wear a bell around its neck. It was my mom's dog, and I remember one day I was laying in bed, and at one time my hallway was tiled, and I could hear the dog coming down the hallway, and the reason I could hear her is because the bell kept going off. So I knew she was coming down the hallway. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Halloween is Monday, and so this is kind of like our Halloween show. I will not be here Monday. I got a tape show ready for you guys. It's going to be shown over YouTube. Monday is like my national holiday, so that's it. I take Halloween off. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Even when I had a real job, I would take Monday off. You know, or not Monday, but Halloween off. I always had it off. I spend the early morning hours decorating the yard. I do a big thing in my front yard for the little darlings and go from there. I enjoy doing it. Create my own special effects, all that stuff. So Monday, just a quick reminder, Jason Gleaves is going to be taking a close look at UFOs and abductions. So his show will be Monday. But I'll be back on Tuesday live. Right? Sunday, I'll be here reading from the book. All right. Anyway, welcome again. That's right, Raven. See? Yeah, I agree. Halloween is special for me. So anyway, tonight again, this is Casual Friday. Nancy Matz is with us. What's going to happen tonight is we're going to start out with some audio. Nancy had done some work with a client earlier this week and got some really cool results talking about this client's pets, and the client agreed with her and all this. So I've got this audio to start off with. The screen's going to go black so you can hear the audio. And then after the audio, we can Nancy and I will start talking about communication with pets, and what to look for to see if your pet's still here and things like that. Because pets will leave signs as well, just like humans do. Pets leave signs. So let me get that audio going, and away we go. Here's the audio. It's going to go blank. I did not fall down where the Marios are or anything like this. So here we go.
If I was looking at the second one.
You are.
Okay.
High.
Okay. He did talk to me immediately about that. Remember, I write them down, then I kind of figure out which one was talking to me. But I looked at all four, and I put my mind to one at a time. And he said he itches. Now, if he tells me, then you need to pay attention. I have no idea how to take care of that. So only...
Okay, I'll figure it out.
Cocoa oil or something.
I'll give him some oil or something.
Something.
Yeah, I'll give him
or
some
have
oil.
him eat it or put it on there and let it soak on. He can eat the rest. So I do see that. One of them, I think it's the oldest. Pay attention to this. There is a brain dysfunction happening, but it's also a lessening of being able to see out of one eye. Don't know if it's a cataract. I don't know if it's just aging or he's always had it and now it's bothering him more. But there's also a dysfunction of being able to think clearer. So you host.
A couple of years ago, my neighbors, who are not very nice people, were having like this huge party, and he likes to wander, and he came home and his head was cocked, and he's never uncocked his head, so he was probably kicked in the head.
Oh my God, that's what I'm picking up then. The head injury, brain.
Yeah,
injury.
He's had a cocked head for a couple of years.
Well, then that injury is going to come back to haunt him. What it didn't do then is now doing it. Plus the vision in that eye, and I kind of want to think left eye also, it's been, I don't know how it gets damaged, but he wants me to think about it. So his brain is not working really good, but the eye is being affected. So possibly the side of the head he got kicked, plus that one eye, the talking from the brain to the eye is not working as well, or he's going blind now. Something, pay attention to that. He also doesn't know that he's aging. He may not think about it.
Oh, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. I gave him some senior cat vitamins, and after that, he climbed up a.
Okay, so here we go. Let's bring Nancy in. We're here, and
this lovely woman, I'm her birthday gift for every year. And I think the mother's been gone at least 5 or 6 years, and she was talking to me for years before that. Isn't that fun? Anyway, 2 dogs, 4 cats, 2 parakeets, a turtle, a tarantula. I love this lady, and I complimented her on being a great pet mom. And she lives in the forest. I mean, it's just like Goldilocks living in this forest with her pets, and she's just a fantastic, creative woman. Like you, she took care of both her parents. Now she's living in their home, and her world is all to herself, but she loves these pets. And when I put my head to somebody, my mind to somebody, I call it that. In reality, I become part of them. It's kind of like, do we call it possession? Absolutely not. Do we call it a walk-in? No, we don't. Because I'm always connected. I'm always connected to me. I'm part of me. I think just a little bit of me reaches out to a client. But people who get readings from me, if they're kind of intuitive, they say they can feel me around their neck and around their shoulders because access of time is here. But when someone wants to think about their pet, she'll visualize 4 pets in her mind, and I'll have to, which one is which, the oldest to the youngest. And then as I write their name down, I go to each of them. And then it takes a minute for me to kind of make connection. They go, oh, who's talking to me? And you think, well, how is it possible that a human being can talk to a cat and dog? A lot of it's visual, as you heard me talk. Oh, I have an itch. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Or, something's wrong. I'm not thinking good, and my eye's not working well. And then she tells me that he got kicked in the head or something, hit him with a shovel or something. Can you imagine people being that cruel? And this poor little thing's been walking around for 2 years doing this. And of course, something happened to the eye. Didn't hear the ear as an issue, just the eye and part of the head. And you think, oh, Nancy, you're doing medical, you're doing this and that. I just listen to them. I'm not telling you something you probably didn't already notice. She noticed the head, but he wants her to know that there's more damage being done. And I forgot what he said. She said of his age, but I had cut off somewhere. 10 seconds, or whatever it was, is almost too long. You don't want to hear the whole. And so I had to cut it off. But what she went to say is, here's this old cat running up a tree just because it started taking vitamins. I don't know if that's a plug for anybody. Maybe I should take vitamins. I don't know. Excuse me then. But I know that pets are truthful. If I bring up something, 99% of the time the owner will know. I went on to talk about another cat, and I'll bring this up, and then we can go on to questions or talk about my pet, your pet, whatever. And this one said, oh, my paw, and he held up his paw, and I can't tell the front from the back, right? And it was the pads I saw with the fur in the center. And ow, 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 ow is what I heard. Really? The cat say ow? Ooh, ooh, ooh. And come find out this is a totally inside kitty, a cat only a couple of years old, I guess, and maybe it's adult by then. And like every home, you have tabletops, you have things that jump up and down. It caught its paw on between the pads on something. And every household has, I can look around here and find something if a cat jumped on it, oops, that it would be hurtful if you did it just right. So I told her kind of to pay attention and see if, what are you going to do about a paw that's a little owied? Just pay attention, baby them up a little bit, put a cold something on there to get but he showed me the pad of his foot. It's like, oh, okay. And then the impression of feeling between the pads, like there was something deep in there. Oh, shoot, I can step on a shoe here in the house because I'm barefoot, most socks on, and I could trip or do something. I go, ow. Just animals do the same. Talk about clumsy. I'm petting the big black one. These cats fall over themselves all the time. It's amazing. Yes, I love you, Joe. Keep him quiet. He's very
My
loud.
2 older cats, I have them in a enclosure. It's like a 6-foot tall enclosure by 4 feet.
Uh-huh.
And late at night, because there's 2 hammocks in the closure, and the one hammock is lower than the other one. And late at night, they try to jump into it.
Oh.
And they miss because the hammock, will shift. And you make me laugh about, cats jump all the time. I think mine have like 800 lives because 2 in the morning,
Yes.
you hear this, boom, and the cat missed and hit the bottom of the enclosure. And this happens like 2-3 times a night. So every time they do it, I kind of laugh and yell back at them, and I'm like, well, there's another life gone, But I mean, cats are crazy. Cats are psycho.
We ought to have a bulletin board somewhere in the house where you just, one life, two. But you and I have had good chats and a good laugh once in a while, because I think I'm done 4 out of 5. Now, how many do not human beings get? And I know you've had 3 or 4 also. I am wearing a Halloween shirt from, I don't know if you can see it. The back is much more colorful. Moonlight Tours from the cemetery. And this is Cup 1999. Most people maybe remember me from all those years. I had hair down to my waist, that heavy black, very dark Indian hair. And I did cemetery tours, 10th and Broadway, John Betancourt. And that was the very first time, not the first time, but one of the few times, because I did start in 95. with the cemetery tours. It was one of the earliest ones. And I had gotten into this environment in 90. I've been doing this every day for 32 years. And we were doing the tour, and it was the wintertime, so it was a bigger crowd. And they started 125, 150 to about 250. They limited it to 250. And there's this couple in one of the aisles of the cemetery. I was kind of leading them. And this one man was walking toward me. And the only thing I can remember was Scuffy, like a terrier look. But I wouldn't know one dog from another. I mean, a terrier hair, because dogs can be crossbred. You can get some crazy designs. And I was watching this little dog going around this guy, not the wife, the guy. And I thought, wow. And I was, I'm not sure what to do because it doesn't happen too often, but I did bring him up. And I think the man got very emotional. The wife said this was the dog they'd just passed away. So it was trying to get the favorite of the two of them. Oh, Daddy, I'm here. I'm here. I have told this story before, but I'll tell you, every audiences are different every night. I was doing some events in Tucson, Arizona, and then Phoenix. So sometimes I don't know which fair is which. I was doing an event, and this woman called me up, and we talked. And she was wanting to share a story about her husband. And she went and got a doxy dog. And the husband would want nothing to do. Oh, it's your dog. It's a little fussy little thing. Well, guess who the dog favored? And it ended up growing up to be the male. It was a bigger dog. And when they were home, it would get on the shoulders in the chair Papa would sit in and snuggle down and be there. And the husband could lean his head back and both of them be happy. So as years go on, he started taking the dog to the store, taking the dog whenever he just was going to run out. And he would wrap the dog around his neck. And the wife was telling me this. He wasn't telling me this. And it was not like unamusing. It was, oh my God, the dog loves him. So after the dog passed, she said he had a really hard time. And then one time he got in the car and he looked in the rearview mirror and the dog was wrapped around his neck as a spirit dog. And that's when she had told me sorry. And she had come to see me at an event. We'd had some sessions. She'd called me up and then the dog had died and she followed through. Unfortunately, I talked to too many people. I don't remember. So if you're listening tonight or you tune in, please give me a call. I'd like to know how you and your husband are doing. All my stories, I tell people these stories are so amazing. I don't even have enough. I'm an artist. That doesn't mean my paintings are originals. These stories are so fantastic. How could you make them up? Just amazing stories. And this one, the Ladoxy, is true. I used to be a long distance runner and horse person, and I literally fell in love with our big black lab. And I remember my husband coming home one night, and kids were little, and he had worked for UC Davis, the medical section. And he said they were, unfortunately, this is what happens. Medical peoples did testing in the area, and they were going to destroy the pups that were left over. Shar, you probably know about this. And he says, I've met this little black dog, and I really want her. I really want this dog. And we live on 2.5 acres. We had horses. Well, why not, right? So he walks in the house with his arms out like this, holding a 6-week-old puppy. And I looked at him and says, that ain't going to be no small dog. Well, Bonnie grew up to be the best partner I could ever have. And running from Granite Bay to Auburn on the horse trails, we ran over snakes, we ran over this and that. And a lot of times she would warn me. And I loved her. And it's really odd. She passed away probably 89. And every once in a while, I still get her. It's like she encompasses my mind. And after all this time, I can't see her. She's totally black. So even the spirit dog being totally black, it's going to be hard to see her. But she was 95 pounds. It's hard to miss her. But I'm kind of like surprised. And one day I was talking to a trusted friend about afterlife. And I do believe in afterlife. I see, it's too long a story. We'll do it some other night. That we do survive. Not only survive, but afterlife, you can pursue hobbies. You can do things that you haven't done for a while. I've had a lot of injuries. I had illnesses. And I haven't done like the marathon length runs. I used to do that kind of run. 21.5 miles was Sunday afternoon run. But the horse riding, so she would be with the horses. And then when I gave the horses to be able to do long distance running, she would go every time with me. And we were sitting around talking, and my friend said, "Oh, there's going to be a big black dog greeting you, and you're going to get to go running. And then I see you on a horse with that dog, and you're riding." And I thought, of all things I would do, she sees that. She had no idea that that I race horses. She knew I ran, but she didn't know about the horses. And I thought, wow, who knew?
Oh, yeah.
Our animals do greet us. And I've always said to people, um, it's one thing when you pass over and everybody expects mom and dad. I think my mother and my father will be there, but it's the animal that makes you go, oh, and you want to have your body because you want to go toward that animal. My dog Bonnie was that animal, and I almost can feel her. And she's been gone 35 years. That's
Mhm.
amazing. 90, 32 years, 32, 33 years. That's incredible to me. And they stay with you. I've had other pets, but Bonnie was the one that the love affair. I don't remember petting her, like wrestling with her as much as greeting her so we could go run. And if I left the back door, double glass doors, with those pair of running shoes and a pair of striped shorts, I had 3 or 4 pair of the same thing. You know how women are. And I'd wear those running shoes and the running shorts, and she would take off and get the dog that lived next door, the big German Shepherd, and they'd come tearing down the hill, and I was in heaven. They were in heaven. And so she's probably waiting. And Shar, you have tremendous amount of pets you've lost and stories. And you've
Lots of
told me the ones that are the shadows in the hallways and corner of your eye. They're always
They're always
making
there.
noise at the bell. Oh, I remember that.
I had I don't think I told you the one about the cockatiel.
Oh,
My
I
cockatiel,
do remember you talking, but if you have
when
a
he
spirit
passed
story,
away. Yeah, when he passed away, you never figure with birds, right? When he passed away, for a couple months afterwards, I would hear him whistle.
I love that.
And then I think, well, maybe it's the TV, right? Some TV show with something
Right.
whistle, but
Turn that TV off.
yeah, it was. So I would turn the TV off, and I would still hear him. And he used to talk. So once in a while, or whistle talk. And so once in a while, I'd hear that too. Sometimes I still hear a whistle occasionally, but I don't know if it's him or the other ones I
The
have.
parakeet now. That'd be hard, yeah. Um, I want to address something before we get call-ins and um, grieving over loss of a pet, whether you have it unexpectedly die or if you have to take it to the vet. They will follow you home.
Hmm.
Don't take their food away. Leave their bed there at least 2 to 3 weeks when you don't have a sense of them right there on top of you, because they don't know they're dead. They think,
Hmm.
oh, gee, I feel good. Oh, they're kind of like, when they first pass over, who greets them? We do. We're right there 99% of the time. If you're not there, they go looking for you. So I would encourage people, and I've said this over and over, it's not like they need to eat, but you throw some tokens in
Hmm.
there and water dish. You don't have to put water in it. They're not
Hmm.
drinking anyway. And make sure the bed is up. And I would at least do it for 2 weeks. It's kind of hard to explain cats, but I know dogs. Dogs are in-house. They're big territory in the house, So they go around and around. And the first time they accidentally go through a wall or accidentally go through a chair, and you almost, oh, what did I do? What? And they'll back up. They're curious, and they go. And once they start figuring that out, they will start experimenting. And then one day they'll go through the outside wall of the house. When they do that, then they're come and go, come and go, come and go. It's almost like no doggy door for them. They just go in and out, in and out. I've seen it where the doggy door will flap, 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 flap when there's no dog, or they'll hear a rustle, and that's the animal experimenting, going through furniture, walls, indoor, outdoor walls. And if you're really in tune with that, you can see the progression of them accepting the afterlife. Some of my life had a bigger dog, and they took it to a babysitter, and they went out of town. And wouldn't you know, it'd be hot, and it was hot weather for the dog, and was outside running, had a heart attack and died. Can you imagine babysitting a dog and it dies? And so one day she said to me, well, where's my dog? And she said his name, and I put my mind to him, and I said, oh, he's not coming back down here. He loves being there with the other dogs. His babysitter had lots of dogs. Every time I visualize him, he's always running in the yard around and around and around and around. So they pick their heaven. It's not like they don't love you. They could show up with a thought. They don't, people think, oh, they're coming to visit me. Well, how long does it take? Well, if you can think of somebody, you're automatically there as a spirit person.
Mhm.
It's like when someone says, I want a reading, all I have to do is hear their voice. Or I do email readings, only to a selected few, everybody. I kind of gave up when I was abused. I have a select few people around the world. That's hard to get to me, voice. Then you wonder how that's done. It's the same process. It's amazing to me. And how we do readings when someone just writes in a note, how does that work? Well, it still works. And we don't understand that the dog can also do the same thing. Oh, I wonder what mom was doing. Boom, they're right there.
Mhm.
Right there. So we really don't have to lose them. And I wonder at times when I think fondly of the life I had when we lived in Loomis, before the cancer and before the divorce and all the hard things we went through. It's almost like that probably was the time I enjoyed the most, was the running with my dog.
Mhm.
I'd run 13 miles and she'd do 26. Wear her out. Unfortunately, she did need to be taken to the vet. She got absolutely crippled, overuse of her bones. The poor thing. But she was very old. Very
Mhm.
old. All right. Another story from you, Shar.
I think what shocked me most, I had my last Kelpie before this one that I have now was a rescue, and
Oh,
she had been. I don't know exactly what happened to her, but I know you couldn't touch her around her neck area at all,
oh,
around the shoulder
tight
neck area.
collar. Mm-hmm. At some
No,
point.
I think the story was that a guy had her, and there was an old woman that lived in the house, and the dog was trained to work. She was a working dog,
Okay.
work sheep or cattle. And one of the stories is that while she was out working the cattle, she got stepped on
Ooh, ooh.
by a cow or a bull, and it
Not like a big
it
bull.
hurt her back, and you could actually feel down her back where it had rehealed.
Oh
So
my
that's one of the
word.
stories that came out. The other story that came out was that she was living in this house with these people, and this woman had three or four chihuahuas, and she supposedly was attacking the chihuahuas, which I don't think was happening. I think she was trying to herd the chihuahuas because
That's
that
more
was natural
logical.
for her. Because she would try to herd me. I'd be walking through the kitchen, and she'd want to turn a certain way, and she'd nip at my fingers
Yeah.
to
Wait
make
a
me
minute,
go
wait a
that
minute.
way.
Let me tell you where to go, Mom.
Yeah, which is what they do. And I used to look at her and say, "I'm not one of your cows. Don't do that." But she was a one-person dog. And people were rightfully afraid of her. It was kind of fun in the neighborhood in a way because if you had a dog like that, nobody came over. You were like, "Hey, don't mess with my
Oh,
dog."
okay. Okay.
So I could touch her. It got to the point after having her for like 10 years. She actually started letting me touch her for medical stuff, to check out different things on her, and all this. But
Yeah.
she had her limits. There were just certain limits. She didn't want to be picked up unless she wanted to be picked up. You just didn't
Yeah.
walk over to her and start poking at her. So as her death got closer, and she would mess herself and stuff, she would
Oh,
let me
oh.
take care of her, and all this was going on. And after she passed, I took her to be cremated, and I didn't expect this because I had the other dog, another Kelpie that I was real close to, and she didn't come to me for like 3 months. Remember, I was real stressed because she didn't come.
And what was that dog's name?
Maddie.
Oh, yeah.
And she
I
didn't come
remember
for a long
Maddie.
time, and it stressed me out. Well, the next day, I'm sitting there in my dream, and this other one came right away.
Maddie came.
Reba came. The other one, the one
Oh,
that was
okay.
the one that was mean. The one that was mean. She
Okay.
came.
Okay. Reba.
And so it really shocked me because we were bonded, but I didn't know we had that kind of bond because it was like she was aloof. It was always okay, my limits. I know your limits. I'm not going to push my luck with you. But she
Yeah.
came back right away.
Huh.
And then I've seen her several, times. I'll see her walk
That's
through,
really a strong bond,
or I'll see her rear
more so
end.
than you realized.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'll see her going around the corner. Her rear end going around the corner. I know it's not my other dog because she's over behind the couch. So I've seen her several times, and I know Monica was here a few times when Maddie would come walking through the house. So I've seen them both. And again, Pepper, like I said in the beginning, when Pepper passed away, I didn't think I was going to see her at all because she was my mom's dog. And
Oh,
it took a year, and I finally saw her in a dream. And
really?
Pepper loved to eat. So what do I see her doing in the dream? She won't even look up at me. She's eating. In this
Now, how
dream.
is that possible that she could create that? Mom, I'm okay. Watching me, I'm eating.
Yeah, watch me, I'm eating. But it took a year for her to come, and I didn't expect that at all because she, like I said, I was just a replacement for my mother,
Okay. Yeah.
But as far as the dogs go, I mean, like my two Kelpies, I've seen them the most. Reba, the last one, a lot. I still see her from time to time. I hear her. I'll be sitting here or in the living room and hear a dog bark.
Mm.
And that's one of the two Kelpies. Like they're
You
back
know,
here in the back room barking.
and that's a interesting. If you have an outdoor, if you don't have a flappy door and you open it, close it.
Mhm.
I've told this story, but I'll share it again. I have 30,000 readings to go through, and I sometimes repeat the same ones because it's the one I remember at the top of my head. I was doing the Tucson Fair, and these gals, I don't know if they're firemen or policemen, but they were the group. And the one that showed up, let's see, I might have had a reading first, I can't remember, but the five of them had come to listen to a talk. I'm very fortunate to see spirit people. So during their talk, people want to know who's standing around them. And I got hung up on this guy pacing the aisle. And I was watching him, and as he went to the end of the two halves, the end of the aisle, I could see the five ladies stand there. The one on the end had this huge dog. I don't know when, I know what a poodle is. I know what a Dachshund is. I know what a black lab is, German Shepherd. But when they're that shape, it was like big. And maybe because they're fire peoples or they had a bigger dog at one time. I don't know. She had whatever. And before I could finish, they walked away. I went, oh, rats. I would love to have had. So when we had a little recess, I got back to the table with Tucson Fair, and this one girl started walking up to me, and here was this great big dog. And I was saying, oh, I'm so glad you came because I want to talk to you about your big dog there. Of course, the tears and, oh my God. She said, I said, well, you were in the talk and he was standing right next to you. And then another fair, she comes back and she says, now that I knew he was around, it was the oddest thing. When I go to somewhere, I open up which in her life she did when he was alive. You had the front door and you had the back door. And she'd open up the back door and she'd call him to get into the car so they'd go somewhere. And she could feel the rough woof of him getting into the back seat. Oh, goosebumps. Ooh. But the other women, I guess, you learn by exposure to other people's stories. And I would like the people I've talked to in all these years when I've done this, how does that change your perception of survival? How does that change you to know your pets don't leave you? If you love them enough, you just call them. You're their heaven. Where else do they want to go? Unless you're the one who passed away in the dog kennel babysitter environment where 20 other dogs are running around the acre of property. And a lot of times that can happen if you've always invited a dog to go with you. Be sure to open the door and invite them. A lot of times you can feel them.
Well, that's the thing, because when they're here on Earth, when they're here in this earthly plane, you're their whole life. That's it. You are their feeder.
Yes.
You are the one that takes care of them, and that's where the bond comes from.
Yep. Just like this one here. Yep.
With my rescue halfway through, I was doing tests to see if I could actually communicate with her and connect with her mentally. And so I sat down one afternoon with her, and it was funny because I didn't get anything from her on that. But when I connected with her and she heard me, I could see the look in her eyes.
Oh my!
She was totally surprised because she could hear me. But I never took it. For some reason, I didn't continue it. But I remember the day I made
life gets in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember the day I made contact with her, which was kind of cool. Her eyes got all wide.
Did you you just got through saying you don't remember what happened after. I was wondering if her essence got stronger.
It might have got stronger at that point because the bond got stronger, after that. But it was just, you could just see by the look on her face where it was just like, wow.
I suspect, and I live in a house that had a couple other residences, people living here, and there's a lot of people who have pets and they do pass away. And I wonder sometimes, and it's happened to my husband when we lived in Tucson, he had what we call the Southwest furniture, the leather with the buttons on the brass buttons at the top. So it was a bigger piece of furniture. And I always told the story, and this animal would keep running across the back of him. You sit there and you could feel this. He said it was a cat. Then we found out from the neighbor, the lady unfortunately had died in the place, but not there, but the dog had. It was a small poodle. And you kind of wonder, do they not go on, or the storyline, how does that work with animals? Why is it they're not thinking of his master? I suspect because we moved in shortly after it was empty and Larry was there, that the furniture was in exactly the same place, and had outlet for the TV was going to be there, so the couch is going to be here. And so you kind of wonder those kinds. And we already addressed opening the door for the cat and dog. I wanted to address now ghost investigations, because Char is an investigator, and we look for people who are emotionally unhealthy after death, and they stick around. And they can become poltergeist, they can become more. But we never address the idea that there could be a dog that could be a ghost, or a dog that could be insane, a dog that was injured in a car accident and was distressed and died. And I want to answer that this is absolutely possible. I don't think they bite your ankles, they're scared, but I think they do leap and they bound and they make noise. So when you do an investigation, you can't sense a person there, but you hear the noise banging on the walls and on the floors. That could be an animal. And we need to pay attention to that also. Like, get on the floor and invite that animal to your lap. Bring a dog bone, bring a bell, or bring something that would attract an animal and stroke it and love it up and make it okay. Because we don't address those kinds of things. And it had been, I don't remember if I brought it up to Char once, but Char, because we talk about this quite a bit, but it makes sense to me that we need to pay attention to animals. Now, we're only talking domesticated. Like in the jungles, do gorillas become ghosts? I doubt it. And I think the difference is the human reaction with them. Because animals, and this is where I got the idea, Char, thank you. We are their world. We are their world. They depend on us for everything, even though thinks he owns us. I got a cup for my husband. It says, big white cup. It has a black cat on it, which these two are. It says, my cat allows me to live here. I'll have to use it next time. And my black cat's in this. He's right here. All 10 pounds of him or something. He's huge. And in that regard, if they're self-aware, if they have seen themselves in a mirror, or if they have to come to us for everything, then they become attached. What if they died and we just moved out? What happened to them? Where's my world? I can appreciate how distressful that could be. It's something to think about, because we talk about how human beings become ghosts, and it's one of my topics I like to address. But because human beings also have a lot of emotional issues, can you imagine those who've died of COVID and they couldn't finish their life, or they couldn't finish this? How many are emotionally healthy to go on to spirit life, or do they have to be coached, or do they have to be around the families until they get it? It's okay. I don't know. I don't like thinking that. But how about animals too? So I think that we need to think about treating our animals in such a way after death to make them not comfortable, but accepted to be in the spirit form. Char, any thoughts on that, honey?
I think what I did pretty much with Reba, and Maddie, was that after they passed, Because Maddie liked the car. Reba liked the car. Poor Reba couldn't go out 'cause she couldn't get along with others. She couldn't play
Yeah.
nice.
He didn't
But
play nice.
I would take her in the car. It was hilarious. She looked like Hannibal Lecter. I had this mask, so she couldn't bite anybody, and I had her strapped in, with a harness and all this. And so there were a couple times like when the tire blew that I had her at the tire center. We were sitting in the
Oh my
bench,
gosh.
but she was really good about it that day. But I made it into something fun, because what I did was I said, well, now guys, come to the store with me. Let's get in the car and go for a ride.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that's what she did. Woohoo! I can go with mom everywhere now. I'm good.
Yeah. And not in the back seat, you can jump in the front seat.
Yeah, I talk to them like I talk to my other dogs.
Right.
I mean, I got Ashes over here. I got Pepper and Reba's right over here, right in this room.
Well,
and
that's
so
nice.
And not I say good night. I'll see you tomorrow, or I'll be back to work, or whatever else. But I mean, I just talk to them like they're normal, like they're still here, because I know they're around.
Now that's interesting. You do have their ashes there, so you are putting emotional energy stronger by looking at that, which attracts them to you.
Yeah.
Can you imagine burying our dead loved ones in the backyard? How many times did you go and put your life force on that pile?
Yeah.
If animals in the house, how about people who keep their loved ones in urns in the house? I'm not always sure that's a good idea. My sister has our mother's ashes, and I wonder sometimes if there's extended grieving because you're always exposed to thinking about them. I'm not positive, but with an animal, you think of the good things. So the animal may come around more because you do think of them stronger.
Now,
And I said, I don't know if it's right or wrong. Huh?
Now, from a ghost hunting perspective, I have done places and businesses in Placerville where there is a dog there, a deceased dog.
And in the butcher shop?
Yeah, or in the the butcher shop, or this other place.
There was other animals there too.
Yeah, this art gallery we did too up there. There was an animal there, and you could hear it scratching. I mean, during the investigation, it would scratch and it would whimper. Not whimper, but happy because we were there. Whimper.
Right.
But you could hear it. I caught it on EVP doing stuff. So I mean, it was just there, and like we asked the owners of the shop, do you want us to take care of do something with the dog? And oh no, we like it. We're fine with it. I said, well, just put some water out for it.
Right.
So make sure it has water.
And how did they react to you saying that?
I had no problem with it.
Good.
Because they would hear it. They would hear it scampering down the hallway. When they were closing up at night.
Want attention.
Yeah, they would hear it in the morning because they would come to greet them. So, it's just like anything else, except you just don't see them unless you're psychic. So.
Or very astute. Because I've had people say to me they can, and I believe this happens a lot. How many times has someone caught movement out of the side of the face and the corner of the eye, and they look around and, oh, I don't know what that was, but there was nothing there. That's your animal or spirit family. In my world, it happens a lot. Like, who's here?
When my time comes, it's going to be like a kennel coming towards me.
A what?
Like I have had so many dogs since I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Animals. It's going to be like a big kennel coming towards me.
I think that'd be marvelous.
Yeah.
Like I said,
off of my dogs. All of them.
Yeah.
All of them. All of them.
It's kind of a comforting thing. Did we say that we would take questions if someone wrote in something? Or make us our story? Does anybody have relatable stories?
Gentlemen, depending who you are. Nancy, if you have a dog or an animal that has passed away, Nancy's going to answer your questions. But only one question, because we're going to go till 8:00 tonight with the show. So one question. But if you have any question about a pet, just don't tell Nancy what it looked like or anything like that. But I mean, ask away. Think about what you want to ask. Put it up in the chat.
Or tell a story, because I love stories.
And we'll ask the question or whatever and tell a story. The other story I have is the feral cats. Because when my mother was so sick, I took solace because my family always bred Chihuahuas.
Oh, really?
I thoroughly enjoy puppies. You know what I mean?
Who doesn't?
That's what they did for making extra money was they bred Chihuahuas. We're actually registered with the AKC. One of our dogs won Best of Show.
Wow. I
So
think you did tell me that, but I apologize
yeah.
for not remembering.
So
Okay.
when I saw the first bunch of kittens, I was like, I'm all about this. I like that. I
And they're
like
so tiny.
they're
So
so
cute.
cute. We used to see the one was independent, the male, and we named him Harry because he was orange. Gotta get that red hair going. And
This hair, a hairy joke.
yeah, and then we had the black cat, which we should have named Megan, but I was being nice.
Oh, now be
So
nice. Be
that was
nice.
Blackie one, and Blackie decided to like me, and she made me her human, and she was coming back and forth for about a year and a half, and then she got sick. I think was poisoned or something happened to her.
Ooh,
She
ooh,
came
you
back to
had
the
that in
yard
your
and died.
neighborhood.
She came back to the yard and died, but I've seen her. I'll be out in the backyard doing my little meditation thing in the evenings, and she'll walk across in front of me. Or
Mm-hmm.
it's really creepy because she'll always come out of a bush, so it startles me.
Oh
But
my
she's
gosh.
there. But she comes back and forth. This is a feral cat, guys. This cat's never lived in somebody's house or anything. It's a feral cat, a deceased feral cat. But she comes to see me,
Mm.
so it's kind of cool. I had a nice bond with her, I guess, and that's her yard. And I've had people tell me that they see her and they see that particular group of cat's mother. It was a calico mother to those those 5 kittens. And she's
I've go ahead. Sorry, sweetie.
and she's around.
I
Oh, we
was
got a
I was
call
just
again.
surprised when you said that she was coming around because the feral cat doesn't have access to being self-aware to know what they look like.
Right.
And then with humans, I've discovered that this time lapse, they
Yeah.
die and you can see their form and thickness as time goes on. They get not lazy. Well,
Right.
if I can show my face, I don't need to show my legs or my
Right.
shoes.
Right.
And that continues, but sometimes pets will show not necessarily color, but the density as they run by. I I want to also share the idea that it's very odd that I saw a dinosaur. Yet when I talk to people, I don't see cows. I imagine there's elephants, especially any animal in a zoo that is become self-aware because the humans taking care of it. But when we lived in by Tombstone, Arizona, we kind of had a little bigger house and bigger house. And I was in the kitchen and my husband was way over there. And I was driving from Sierra Vista to Tombstone. And in between was a dinosaur dig. In that part of the world, there was a lot of discoveries. It was high desert next to the Mexican border. So there was a lot of hills and dales where the ocean would come into um, the Arizona, Nevada, Utah basin, and they had whales. I mean, the biggest mammals on the planet would be in those oceans. And then when the dinosaurs get there, and when we live our life, how many times did we ever think about cattle having spirits or ghosts or whatever? And I was in the kitchen and had this big window over the sink. And I had been traveling back and forth and watching this dig go on and always thinking, oh, I'd like to go there. So it set up in my mind to think about dinosaurs. So if anybody out there would like to think of cows endlessly for a year, you'd probably start picking up the essence of cows that have passed over. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm just surmising
Mm-hmm.
because after the oceans drained away, there were the basin was probably beautifully lush with the biggest trees. And I saw one of those that in Jurassic Park, the first animals that the professor and his lady assistant saw with the leaf
Mm-hmm.
eaters that would get on their backs and the big neck would eat the tops of the trees. That's what I saw, but it was walking. And I remember thinking, how is it possible seeing this? And I couldn't see the top of it. And it was walking toward the kitchen. And I also thought how odd how fast it was walking. Like I
Mm-hmm.
thought they were lumbering real slow. Well, this was kind of like getting along. And I thought my husband from the other room was watching me and he goes, "What are you looking at?" And I was doing this. And I says, "I can't believe I'm seeing a dinosaur." And he hurried over so he could look too. And of course, his eyes weren't adjusted to be able to do that. I was like, it started going through the other side of the house where
Mm-hmm.
clearly it didn't hit the house, but And I remember thinking it's going to walk through us. And it did on that side, didn't go through the kitchen where I was. And it was just something I would never, ever, and it's never happened again. But I've also not seen a walrus, a penguin from the zoos. But then I don't go. Now the grandbabies do go with mom and daddy. Should I go to see if I could see those? So I think the primary thing that we're talking about tonight is pets. But it would also be fun to open up those possibilities that there are other animals. What about ghost investigations around mines or around where birds were, or work animals like the what kind of animals would pull the carts of coal out of the mine? Was it a beef cow or something? Was it oxen or something? They would be around also because they're acknowledged by human beings. They're probably very well taken care of. But we don't see that sort of thing. How interesting our world would open up if we could. So I think if there's certainly human reaction and love more than normal, I think that there is a possibility that the spirit could be seen afterward. Just a thought.
Yes, that's a good thought. Susan has a question. I had a German Shepherd and a German Shepherd named Chip. Oh, we just popped up. Hang on. Okay, I had a German Shepherd named Chip and a dog named Flash. Also, I had cats named Snuggle, Sunshine, and Chase.
Well, that's almost too many. I'll stay with the German Shepherd. Was he a chewer? Chewed on a lot of stuff.
I don't know if any of them are with her. That's all.
What's that?
Did you see any of them with her?
The German Shepherd, the biggest one. The one that chewed a lot. It's almost like the one that you spoke of. It was the second one. I apologize. But one of them wants me to know that he loved to chew. Oh my God, you give him a bone, you give him a stick or whatever it was. He just went into heaven. Oh, chew, 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 chew. So which one am I looking at? Which one has put my mind wanting me to see him chewing?
Tell us, Susan. Tell us. Okay. Raven says, I moved into my tiny home here in July. I keep seeing fast glimpses. And also sense the spirit of a black cat roaming inside only for the first month I was here. Can you pick up on that?
You know, it's hard to tell the difference between a cat and a dog. I'm seeing a small dark. I want to go cat because it feels like it's bouncy, graceful feeling. So I feel yes. It did have some white on it. So if you could get the owners and see it, I don't know if it's older, but I do see white and dark together. Now the cat wouldn't be able to see the difference. Another good story, everybody. So I had clients in Grass Valley and they said, would you like to come visit? We have an interesting house. We have ghosts. And I went, oh. So the two stories. So I did tell this one. This is fun. They did move things around and they did remodel. And the bedroom upstairs was one of those A-frames. And the bedroom upstairs, they put a bed in there. And they had spent the night there. And during the night, a cat would jump on their bed. They didn't own a cat.
Wow.
And because they remodeled, well, it was the guest room. And they love to have company. And they would never say to, by the way, we have a cat that jumps on your bed in the middle of the night. And in the middle of the night, the next day, you see my cat in the corner here, the big one. They'd say, well, we were okay until your cat jumped on our bed. And then they would say, we don't have a cat. And I go, why do people do that? But it was the fun thing for them. They enjoyed that a lot. That's what I was telling you, where they opened up from the first floor to the second floor. And those prior owners that had passed away many decades earlier still lived in the house because the floor was gone, but you could hear them walking. It was the same when you did a ghost investigation and the top area of the house or the bridge no longer was there, but we could see the woman that hung herself.
Oh, that was the bridge, yeah.
She hung herself from the bridge, but that part of the bridge was missing now.
Yeah.
And I could see her.
Very good. You remembered.
I do, because it was odd, because it never occurred to me that people live on I think there was another layer to the house, and I could see walking around where there wasn't any flooring anymore for her, but I also saw her death, and it was in an area where there's nothing there. So things over the decades had been removed. Is that
Well,
right?
and that was a weird thing too, because granted the bridge is over the river, but you'd be standing on the bridge, everything would be really quiet and cool, and then all of a sudden you'd feel some kind of vibration on this
Hmm.
bridge. I don't to this day I don't know
Because
what
it was
that.
a wooden bridge, maybe at that time.
Yeah, and so probably her swinging motion off the bridge is what causes that. I
Hmm.
don't know,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's just
Yeah.
really weird. Susan says German Shepherd, so you nailed it. Very good, German Shepherd.
Well, it was the first one she mentioned. That's what put my mind to it. And
Yeah.
he was a really happy dog, but particularly if he had anything that I imagine it wasn't just chewies that he would chew on if they weren't careful.
Like what?
Okay, more questions.
Okay, here we go. Let's see. All right, we did Raven. Marisa has a question. I remember a German Shepherd Wolf mix named Chico. As a little girl, I had a mini staffy called Shorty. As a teenager, a German Shepherd named Max.
Oh my.
Geez, you're like I am. A white lab pity mix called Cody, and my black lab pity Quincy. Do any of them visit me?
There's a mid-size, smaller two-tone. Kind of looks like a corgi. Oh, Shar, I don't know. I see a smaller dog, not a great big dog. So she had a shorter one, two colors. Which one was that?
I don't know. Which one was that? We're asking. Oh wait. Do 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 do
What's a
do.
corgi? Didn't you say corgi?
No, no, no. The dog's name was Shorty.
What kind of
I
breed
don't
was
know.
the?
Oh, it
Okay,
was a mini Staffy,
I have no idea what that is.
Staffordshire Terrier. That might have been the
How,
one you were talking about.
and how big are they?
They're like
25, 30 pounds?
something like that. I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
that might be the one. Yeah.
And she spends a lot of time at your heel, like your foot. Like she'll crawl around and snuggle around your heels. Like maybe you're sitting and she'd wrap herself around, or she gets underneath or something. And I
Right.
don't know why but she had a comfort. Like she'd just be around you. And it feels like that's where the dog is at the time. It's kind of
Yeah.
odd.
Sounds like Shorty, 30 pounds. Yeah. There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Hmm.
About the size. About the size of my dog there. Oh my god! I thought it was my cat. I
You know,
actually turned around. I did. I turned around. I thought
yeah,
it was
he's right here. He's a biggie,
Oh
and
my god.
and
Okay.
and I want him to be peaceful because he'll jump right up on here and then go. And the other one's half his size and the same age, litter mates. Okay, anybody else in the
Jerry
chat room?
wants to know if her cat, if her dog Penny is with her, and if she moves, will the dog come with her?
They will always go with you, so you have to invite them also. Um, I didn't get the gal's name.
It's Jerry.
I wonder if this is a recent passing. Sherry shows me grief in her eyes or sadness in her eyes. She misses that dog terrible. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to be really happy. I feel like the dog's been around, but mostly running around. I would like you to find a toy that you had with that animal and invite the animal to be happy with you. And that dog will come around more. Not as much as you want, but if you want that dog more, then be happy and I can't wait for you to come. Just think of it, because it takes time for the animal. Oh, I'm being invited. I'm going to go over there. If you're grieving, and I feel grief in her mind, I hope it's not something more, but missing the animal. Did you spend time on your bed with this animal, or on a big couch, fluffy?
Jerry says yes. I'm very sad.
Oh, we're talking Marisa?
No, we're
Marisa?
talking Jerry.
Jerry? Okay, Jerry, I'm sorry. You are sad.
Very sad.
That animal's picking that up, so you want to be cheerful for the animal. Look at there's that black cat. And maybe you were on the bed with the animal when it was alive, or I know it, right? Huge.
I like the ears are sticking up. That's great.
Right?
Being Halloween and all, seeing the ears stick up just above your name is terrific. Okay.
Right. So be cheerful to get the animal to you. If you're grieving, they want to stay away. They're not always going to be around. But I feel like you might spend time with this animal on a fluffy or like the bed or a fluffy couch. Go to that, be happy, and invite the animal to you, and they will come. And I've had people say to, oh, I've done that. And you actually feel the density of them because they want the whole body. The animal wants to be felt. It's really, really amazing. Mm-hmm.
And Marisa says, I feel a breeze near my legs. Yeah, that's where the dog is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's where the dog is.
Oh, that's that one. Yes, that's what I said. Yes,
It's like
yes, yes.
that one dog I have. I'm always looking down before I put my feet down to stand up too.
And this is the animal that I said was around her feet, around her legs. Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. Isn't that fun for me to? How much validation people need that we do
now,
survive?
I'm gonna ask you a question. I told you about my other two big dogs, my other three dogs. Do you see a small dog around me?
Oh, God, you had a lot of small dogs. I mean,
No, I'm talking just one particular one. That would be
is that
my dog and a connection on my dog.
was it? Oh, fudge. I forgot what colors are colors. A beige, light color.
Oh my gosh, is that the one that's around me?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I never would have figured.
What is that?
Oh my gosh, it was a terrier. It was a terrier.
Small.
That's dog. DAWG.
What was it? W.
DAWG.
Oh, okay.
Spelled
And
dog.
it's what?
Dog. DAWG.
What color is that I'm trying to describe?
Like a desert tan kind of.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. Everybody broke everybody's ears. I couldn't figure out what color that was.
This shocks me because I always think it's my little black terrier. Wow, okay. That's yeah, I never figured. Look at that, Martha. Look at that, Marisa. It's dog.
Dog. Look at that.
She's a creamy color. Yeah, she's a creamy color. Yeah.
Okay.
Creamy beige color.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out what color that was.
Yeah. This dog was funny because I had a cat and I couldn't let the cat out in the rest of the house because of the other dogs. And this cat would live in my bedroom with me. And the cat, you know how cats get at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And the dog would want to sleep, so the dog would get really irritated. And the dog would grumble. When the cat would start jumping around, she would actually grumble and mumble.
Yeah, leave me alone. Leave us alone.
Leave us alone. We're trying to sleep. Frickin'.
I love that.
And she was a trip. She was a nice little dog. I found her. She looked like a Chihuahua. We thought it was a Chihuahua. That's why we found her.
That's what I wonder if that's what I was looking at. Yeah.
Yeah, she was some kind of terrier.
Yeah.
Some kind of terrier mix. Wow. That Because I always think about my my black chickapoo. What she's up to.
I'm only telling you what I'm seeing right now, this minute.
That's a wow. It is a wow. Cool.
You remember everybody, I'm not looking yesterday or last week. It's in the moment. And so same with Shar, I've done this 2 or 3 times now. The people call in and say, who's next to me? And I have to look right that minute because what I see is what I see. Right. I can't make anything up because I don't want to be wrong. So I'm going to just, but that dog's with you right now.
Yeah, I was just curious. Yeah, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. Wow, that just blew me away. See,
by your right calf.
Nancy can still blow me away. She can still blow me away.
It's fun. It's fun. It's kind of scary at times that I even know that I can do this. Yeah. And I tell people training, release the stress of being right or wrong. Just say what you get.
Yeah.
Or as with me, and then people say, and where are your eyes when you're looking? And I go, oh, I guess that's a mystery. I don't know how it works.
That's really cool.
I just do what I do.
Jen has a question. Are any of my cats or dogs that passed with her?
Short hair, dark. I wouldn't know dark brown versus black. Which one is that?
Jeopardy song. I don't want to get sued. There we go.
Tick, 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 tick. And who was asking? First name? Jen. Yeah. Jen. These names are familiar. I should be able to recognize them.
We're all one big happy family, aren't we?
I love it.
Yeah, it's fun. Very fun. All right, we're waiting for the
answer. It is fun to be able to give different perspectives on animals or people. And it doesn't mean the other animals aren't around. Like I said,
Right.
in this moment, that's who I'm seeing.
That's really cool.
There's someone in the group that sleeps and some cat gets on their face or their head. Who's that? I'm seeing an animal with a
If nobody
pillow.
else answers, I have an answer about that. But go ahead.
Oh, is that you?
I'll see if it's anybody else. I don't want to take somebody else's thing away.
Remember, I'm connected to everybody.
Let everybody go. Come on, wake up. Wake up. Oh, there we go. Jen, her gets in her pillow. Jen, see, that's why I didn't want to say anything. And Susan says me. Jen says mine gets in the pillow, and Susan says it's me. Okay, she's got a cat that gets on her head. Okay. See?
That being shown that, but I don't know why it's important. Is that a living or a deceased pet?
Yeah.
I think that's all fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is fun. See, my deceased cat, the first cat I ever had, because I had one of those old water beds, and so I had like a shelf above, and the cat would sit above on the shelf, and you know when you do your home perms, it smells.
Oh no!
2 a.m, I feel my hair being like picked by a cat.
Oh gosh! And she'd be picking at it.
Yeah, she'd be picking at it from above.
Oh gosh! Well, how funny is that? Oh, it's so funny.
But I would have her on a leash. She would ride in the car with me, so she would be around my neck when I was driving. Mm-hmm. Great cat. All right, yeah. Jen says living.
Oh, so I'm seeing someone has a living cat that does that. Well, that's how I would see it living, but then I'm kind of floating around.
Okay, Susan says Chase is dead, but he would get on my head and chest. So it could be either one.
Could be either one. Yeah. Which one was dark cat?
Yeah, which living one was dark? Between the two, Jen and Susan, who had the dark cat?
Living or deceased? Kind of wondering why I pick up a living when we're talking deceased. Even though I have cats, I am sensitive to them. So sometimes in the office here, they're in, and then I'm doing a show, and all of a sudden, after a whole day of them, I'm getting like this. So I don't like having the cats around me at night. But tell ya, those cats just smother Larry. Poor thing.
Susan says black and white.
Okay, so I'm seeing the dark part of it then, because I sense of darkness. Was that the living or dead? Susan,
dead. Chase is dead.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Jen says
still doing it.
Living, yeah. It's not mine. Mine was a tiger cat, so it wasn't mine.
No. Good story though. It looks like you're reading.
Marisa. She says her brother's cat Ajax used to sleep on her stomach when she watched TV and stretched out on the couch. He was black. Didn't you have paranormal experiences with Ajax? I think she had experiences with that cat afterwards. I think she did. She told me.
What's that mean, paranormal? Because we're talking paranormal right now.
Yeah. Tell me about Ajax, Marcy. I think she's. I'm not going to open my mouth. I would get yelled at, so I got to wait. Yeah, I did. What did he do? Did he lay on your stomach? Did you feel him on your stomach or what?
Oh, that's cool.
I'm waiting. She's typing.
Tick, 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 tick.
You know what's weird? Is over the years being a journalist, I find that sound comforting. You know, on computer keyboards.
Oh, yes, I do too.
That is because all those years, working in those newsrooms and everything, I find that sound comforting. It's odd, but I do. I love that sound. I could sit there just to relax with a cup of Joe or something and just sit there and hear that.
When I worked telephone company 24 years, and I worked in accounting, and one of the first jobs I had was the Odoso room. So any of you old enough to know what the Odoso room? It's the room where you have, Char's grinning, where orders came in, and they would be typed out and stacked up. And you would hear all the ticking because it was typed. All these things were printed out. And the ones that crunch it up, I would have to read the tape and reprint it out. And the machine looked like something from 1930s with a great big pedal you'd have to like this, and my hands got so strong, boom boom, all 8 hours. I loved the job. I was up on my feet running around, type A personality. I thought it was really
Did you work
fun.
with contometers?
I don't know what that is.
My
I
mother
don't.
worked with contometers. My mother did billing and did the billing stuff in accounting.
See, I wasn't in accounting. I was where the orders came in. That was one of the
Okay,
first.
yeah,
I
yeah.
had it for a couple of years. Then I went to accounting, and that was on there for some years. I went to
I
engineering
have a
work.
contometer up in my hall closet from the phone company.
I don't know what that is. You have to show me sometime when we're doing.
It looks like those old time adding machines that you pull down. You
Oh,
type stuff in and you pull down.
no, I
Yeah,
didn't use that
that's what
before
it
my
does.
time. I started in 60. Let's see, August of 66.
Big old buttons on these things. Marisa
Mm.
says I would see Ajax's body outline on my stomach after he passed while I was covered with a blanket on the couch.
Ooh,
Cool.
I love that. I love that. That's really,
Cool.
yeah, I like that a lot. Mm-hmm.
Jen says
Mm-hmm.
she's had too many pets in her life. All my animals use me as a pillow, so who knows? Like you, Shar, I'm going to have a stampede of animals grieving when I pass. Oh, hell yeah.
But that's exactly what we want. I mean, how many have us had? I almost don't know anybody that hasn't had a pet. I'm trying to think. No,
Maybe that'll be my heaven. Most people want to travel like
absolutely.
all over the place. Me, I'll have all my animals. That'll be it, man. I'll be hanging out there
Whatever your heaven is, you get to do.
with all my
And
pets.
clearly, I enjoyed running so much. Um, I really did. I loved the power of it. I did love the horseback riding for the power also, because we never did anything easy. It was always in a rush, like
Yeah.
running, competitiveness. And people like me kind of live off that, kind of on the edge. But I did love our animals. I remember we agreed we'd get a cat, and it was orange and white.
Right.
And I thought, oh, finally get a cat. I knew I'd be allergic to it, but I really wanted. Let that cat in the house and headed right toward that 7-year-old son of mine. I
Mm-hmm.
never had that cat in my life. It's just like boom. Derek took it to college with him.
I
Amazing.
gotta clarify something right now. I read a question to me in the chat room. We will start investigating probably January, February. I had to take a break from investigating. I had too much death around me and had to take like a year off. I just couldn't take anymore.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I just couldn't handle it anymore.
It's not the death and spirit; it's the taking care of, and
And the
it's so
emotion.
hard to motion, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had,
Draining.
and I'm serious. Between my animals and the human people, I had like 6 or 7 deaths in a row.
Yep,
So
yep.
I've been on hiatus with that. Boy, I'll tell you. So yeah, I'm starting to put everything back together on the team. I'm putting up a new website and do all this other stuff to get things rolling again. But I
Yeah.
just had to take a break. Plus, trying to build this up too at the same time. So yeah.
Shar and I are both in the same window. We have old websites, and I'm going to ask forgiveness for my old nancymatz.com. Nancy Matz author is my new one, and I'm migrating Nancy Matz over to GoDaddy at someone's site. So be patient with both of us. It's just I just moved, and it's like between working and unpacking and rearranging 2 or 3, 4 times. You know how that is, everybody.
Yeah.
So both of us, and Shar, I had a discussion with Shar one day. We both agreed it would be fun to do UFO investigations also, and maybe not just to get teams, but invite the public to be part of it, because
Yeah.
I think we don't have access to that. And that's a good prelude to the show next week. On the 11th. The next week, what are we going to talk about, Shar? We didn't make a decision yet, have we? Well, that would be a surprise. But on the 11th, Shar and I are going to be discussing UFO
Yes.
connections with humans and with us. And we all have opinions, so I'm going to give my opinion and what I've experienced and what I've picked up from people who've had aliens and interaction, abductions, whatever. So I kind of put my information together, and I got, oh man, we have to talk about this, because I have my own opinion, and I'm not talking politics, and it's not. I think people who are not in a position to talk about things, maybe celebrity shouldn't be political. Maybe I can't talk about UFOs, but I've had experience. My husband has had a couple too, I think it's really widespread. So that will be on the 11th. Did we
And
ever decide? Go ahead.
to kind of wet your whistle, I think I got abducted. I'm not gonna say. I'm just gonna say this lightly because I don't know. I don't think I'm crazy because I'm not crazy. You guys know about that event that Maurice and I had on the freeway that one night, and we don't know if we were abducted or what happened with that one. But what was it? It wasn't last Saturday, was it? Or the Saturday? It was last Saturday, huh?
I
Last
think so.
Friday, going into Saturday, I had a
Yep.
weird thing happen overnight.
Oh,
And
don't tell them now. Make them.
yeah, I'm just saying I
Don't
had
do
a
that.
weird thing happen. So we'll be talking about that at some point
You.
here because
This is interesting because Shar is intuitive. I am. I call it a dream. I've had a couple of 2, 3 dreams. You know
right,
how you go, and it's not like I'm going to say, "Oh, absolutely, absolutely," only because there's no way to prove it other than the information I got.
yeah,
And rather, it's my creative mind dreaming up the information I was receiving. I and someone said, "Oh, Nancy, you got to get regress. This is really cool." You know what? I don't need to because I don't know what's happening in that, and maybe I don't want to know
and in a
why.
way, in this in a situation like this guy that's going to be on the show on I think Thanksgiving because it keeps getting pushed out because we keep booking people. Is the guy I interviewed Saturday morning, and after reading his book, I think sometimes ignorance is bliss with these things.
Right?
I don't want to know what they're if they are taking me, what they're doing to me.
Ignorance is bliss.
I don't think I
Absolutely.
want to know. I just don't.
I do feel like there's, and we're going to get off track here. I
Oh
do
well,
feel like they're here, and I do tease with there are multiple species here,
yeah,
and I will talk of ones I'm aware of.
yeah. We're gonna be talking UFOs and aliens and all that.
I
So
thought we had decided what we're going to talk about next week, and I've lost the. Anyway,
we'll
let
deal.
mystery. We're trying to make it diverse so that everybody gets what they want to talk about.
Yeah,
Can I talk about everything? No, I don't know everything. Thank God. I don't want to be that responsible for that. But there's enough in my life after 32 years and born with this that there's a lot of things I can talk about and share my opinion. That I can do what I do is a mystery to me too. How I do it, I think I got a handle on that. Why I should be able to do it is another question. And last time we talked, I think it was it this show I talked about the brain, how I feel like we're quantum mechanic things going on. And
hmm
everybody says, oh, our brain holds all our memories for a lifetime. You're just reading their mind. I don't think so. How can I describe something that's happened 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago? How can I describe you in a photograph standing next to grandpa and I can tell you about his childhood that
hmm
you have to research? Shar, was it you I was talking to about a spirit woman coming and saying she wore a pretty dress? And they later found out that the only time grandma wore a pretty dress is when she went to see Elvis Presley. Was that you?
Yes, yes.
That's a good story. Why don't you share that? Meaning the one we talked to that I gave this information to. I'm not sure it was you. I might have been a reading. I
Yeah,
don't know. How?
we were probably talking about in passing about Elvis.
I
Is what
might have said that. So this reading I did was to a woman who wanted to know about her mother. And the mother, people in spirit will give me the most obscure proof. It's like I always say, always, if you see something, you describe the spirit person, I will give you lots of detail. But when I give the detail, sometimes I'll give something so obscure. So this woman I was talking to, I think I might have said that when I told you the story. So the mother shows up in a dress as a younger woman. And she says, isn't this pretty dress? And I was describing it as floral. And the woman talked to me, oh, that's not my mother. She never wore a dress. She was a farm. And she got pretty. Well, guess what? She called her auntie. And her auntie said, oh, she had one dress. All right. And she said she did wear a dress. It was one time. It was floral. She went to see Elvis Presley. And it was so obscure, the woman didn't even know her mother ever owned a dress. And sometimes they do that. They do it to me, and I go, "Oh my! You want me to say that?" Oh. One time, I talked to somebody, and their hand got slammed in the door of a car. I had to tell them, like, "What's this with a car door slamming?" Well, I guess the fingers were like this forever, and that's how the person knew. I mean, who can make that up? Yet this is very interesting. Ken and Ollie Cat were at the Spiritualist Church. UCM, Universal Christ of the Master, Citrus Heights, California. I was part of their group 15 years, almost every Friday night. I got my ministry through not Universal Christ of the Master, but Church of the Living God, Sedona, Arizona. Sedona before it became popular in 92, February 92. So I was entertaining a group of people at Spirit of Grace, and there was a small group, like 8, 9 people that night. And the yeah, right. Well, come on. Anyway, this lady says, "Who's my son's guardian?" And someone's around. Come on, Joe, get up here.
Bring him
Anyway,
up. He's a black
yeah,
cat. Bring him up.
yeah, big black cat. Come on
Yeah.
up here, honey.
Bring him up.
He's scratching the back of my leather chair. Anyway, the moment she said, "Who is for my son?" The son was a teenager sitting right there. Remember, we're born in the bodies we choose. Anyway, this cripple was on the floor. Evidently, he was born in such a way that he could not use his legs, and they're folded under him. But he might have been 6 foot tall, so his arms were really long like this. And he was a blonde, golden skin with blonde hair. And he lifted himself up and hobbled over to the foot of this boy's. It was across a circle to the boy's feet. And then, just like that, the woman said, "Oh, it's my brother."
Wow.
Oh, goosebumps, everybody. Goosebumps.
Chicken skin.
Chicken skin, because I have to say what I got. And those who are training, release the stress of worrying if you're going to be right. You just repeat and see something. You say it, what you hear. You see what you say, what you see. And I've learned to trust, and I release myself in that moment to receive without ego. That's very, very important. Hold on a minute. Where are you? Come on, get up here. Oh, I love you.
There he is.
There he is. Yeah.
It's your night coming up. Your night's coming up Monday. Black cats.
Black cats. Okay.
Monday.
Look at this. Feels very neglected, I'm afraid. But that's okay. I struggle every show, but you can't close off the room. They'd sit there at the back of the.
I always worry about my black feral when she was out out on Halloween night. I would worry about her. 4th of July.
Put them in, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, but she'd always be out there the next morning. So
the thing about black cats, are always seen as they're associated with black mass. They're associated with the witch environment. They're associated with voodoo, black magic, and all kinds of environments that are meant to scare people. And so I chose to keep my 2 black cats in, not only because we lived in the country and the hawks were terrible, and the bobcats and bears and oh my, but I feel safer because they're so invisible when they're on the road. And those people that are malicious enough to want to hurt cats will pick the black ones. Mm-hmm. You get that wicked cat off the streets.
Always.
And they're just very, very loving. They're so loving, they won't let me stop loving them. Huh?
So next week, we're going to figure out what we're going to talk about over the weekend, probably, and we'll have a topic for you. But Halloween, like I said, Halloween, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be spooking out people. Marissa's going to be with me spooking out people here at the house.
Those who are in the chat room, why don't someone give us some ideas?
Yeah, give us some ideas.
I am open to ideas.
Open to everything. The only thing I won't do, and I'll warn you because my house is so active, I've had people ask me to do this before, is for Nancy and I to do EVP work over the air, and I won't do that in my house. That's off limits. And anything having to do with ghost hunting in my house is not going to happen. I don't want to know. I don't want to hear my deceased relatives. I know.
In fact, it's. I got him to calm down. He was pretty riled. Like, Mama. We're talking about pets, and he's right there. I think I've had fun tonight. I
have too. It's been a fun night.
This was a really fun night. There's so many topics. In fact, I have a dictionary home of paranormal words. I should get that out, and we could start at A and go all the way through. Astral projection, remote viewing. Any of those things would be interesting also. I've had a couple experiences with astral projection, but I kind of line it with remote viewing. And they say, well, isn't that what you do every day with all your readings? Absolutely. I'm pretty spooky when people talk to me. I had this beautiful young woman call the other day, and we were talking, and I had a glance of her husband, and I went, "Holy tamale!" She says he's perfect. Well, inside and out too. And I started thinking, and I was telling her what he looked like, and I says, "I already know what he looks like. You don't have to describe him." And I think that's a form of remote viewing.
Yeah.
People have used me on different shows to describe locations. And I know there's tools that people use to do remote viewing, like longitude, latitude. I don't need that. If someone wants me to go to an island, I'll just go to an island and find out something interesting. You want me to go where? In the Mediterranean, Rock of Gibraltar? There's 3 or 4 islands there. I'll describe one of them to you. And it's pretty spooky, but it's fun. It's fun to do if you can find. And I've done that with Shar a bazillion times.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to experience. What's she saying? To experience. Okay, hang on. I gotta enlarge this. I'm blind. Remember this, guys.
And I have a really big monitor, so when someone says, "Oh, you're reading the screen just fine,"
Okay, yeah, Jem, we got to work on your meditation, but yeah, we got to work on your meditation. Once you get your meditation down, you can do that stuff. It's all good. It's all good. Anyway, guys.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah, this was fun. I like this topic tonight.
Yeah, it was a fun topic. I miss my animals. If I could have them all at my house with me, I would. I really would. It'd be horrible, but I could just have animals coming out everywhere, out of the walls. They probably do now anyway. Who the hell do I know? But yeah, so Monday again, I won't be here. Jason Gleaves will be here though. But you're gonna have to watch it on YouTube. That's gonna be a YouTube thing. Also, if you know what, either way you end up at YouTube. But if you don't like going to our site, because I mean, there's all kinds of crap on there, go to the website, CaliforniaHauntsRadio.com, because I'll have it posted there. And so you can watch it live from there if you want. It's still taking to YouTube, but technically it's YouTube, but it'll be seen from my site, from the website. So if you don't like a cluttered up YouTube site, you can watch from there. That doesn't make any sense. Oh well, I must be tired. One of those days.
The weather change also pulls it. I was telling Larry today, I'd gotten over some kind of bug, and he has it now. He's bundled up, and the cloud was covered, and it was cool. And I says, "Oh my gosh, get me a big blanket and a soft couch." He has the couch in there, soft. And I go, "It just feels like you want to drink hot coffee." We had a hot meal, and it tastes really good. Sometimes this weather makes us tired.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The weather change.
The dog's scratching his back. You can hear the dog in the background.
You have a dog in the back?
He rolls over to scratch his back, so he's forever, doing that stuff. You can hear it in the hallway. But anyway, guys, I'm going to call it a night. Nancy's going to call it a night. And again, if you're listening from far away and you haven't seen the show before and you like what you hear, if you're on Facebook, hit that follow button. And because I'm always looking for followers, hit that like, hit that follow. If you're watching from YouTube, please do subscribe. We're looking for subscribers too, because the more subscribers we get, maybe I can do this for a living full time. We don't know. It's coming. It's getting there. It's coming. And same thing over at TikTok. I want to be able to go live on TikTok, and I have to have 1,000 people following me on TikTok to go live. So if you have any friends that are interested in paranormal stuff, please let them know about the California Haunt site over on TikTok, because I'm trying to get more followers. Same thing for God, I get so confused on these. Same thing for Instagram. I'm Ghosty Gal, lowercase letters. Okay, trying to get 1,000 over there so I can go live. It never ends. These numbers. When I go to bed at night, I see numbers.
You wake up thinking numbers.
Numbers and websites. That's all I see. Well, there's YouTube. There's that number. It's just craziness. But I'm trying to build this up, and so far we're doing really good. It's taken 3 years to get what we have over at YouTube, and I'm hoping that it goes a little faster. But we're starting to take off over at TikTok, so I'm real excited about that. So. Yeah, so the more you guys can go over there and follow, the better, on all those sites. And what else was I going to say? Oh, I'll show you Nancy's contact stuff. We're going to be running Nancy's new ad next week, too, because I did some changes on the ad.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, I'm getting the bugs out of it. So we'll be running Nancy's new ad next week. I've just been so busy. Like, I was 5 months behind on the website. I mean, oh my God, trying to catch that up. I'm not even there yet, but it's getting better.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, I hate to tell you what I am.
She is too. I mean, we're all behind. It's rough when you get old. You can't do things like you used to. You get tired.
Your life has been busy, and I
Oh
was
God,
moving. So when do you have time?
I
It's
just don't.
amazing to think, though I want to give a plug for keeping busy. Star and I've had good laughs talking about how difficult this is. I'm learning so much. And I think, oh, I don't know if I can learn one more thing. And then when I conquer, oh my gosh, I sent her audio tape and I was editing it today. And I went, I can't believe we can learn this new technology. It's easy once it's logical. Once you figure out it's logical, it is fun. It is fun. How about if we give a plug for next week talking about past life, people that've been in your life and how they influence you?
Absolutely, we can do that.
Maybe we should talk about past lives. So we've talked past lives before, but I've
Right.
had some encouragement from people that they do like this. And if we had people that call in and said past life, you know what? We'll think about it. We'll leave it hanging if I can think of a different way of approaching it, because it seems to be a topic that's kind of got people's attention. If anybody would like to write us a note and say what they would like us to talk about, like I said, right at the moment, I'm kind of winding down. It's 8:00, honey. So let's call it a night, okay?
That's it. I'm done. So I'm done too. I did all my share things. We'll just add in the one. If you like this, share it with 5 people. That's all we ask. Just share it with 5 of your friends. I'm good. If you hated the show, share it with 5 enemies. Even if they get it, they might hate it enough to share it around to
Oh
their
my
enemies
gosh.
and cause the snowball effect. That's what we're looking at. But I want to thank all of you guys for coming tonight, and I want to thank everybody that's listening on the podcast, because I really appreciate them, especially my friends over in Europe and the Mideast and all that stuff. The people that are listening, it's really exciting to look at that map, to see all the
Love
little
it.
dots that are in the Mideast and over in Europe and stuff. It's really exciting, and Hawaii's really light for us too. And
4
oh my God,
hours earlier, they could
it's
really.
so fun. Yeah, it's just so fun. So I appreciate each and every one of you, and I want you to know that. So with that, I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to let you give you Nancy's information and all that good stuff, and we're going to call it a day. And don't forget Sunday at 6:30 p.m. to put your little slippers on and cuddle up in front of the fire, because we're going to be reading about the Salem witch trials. So come and join me Sunday. Okay. So here we go, and here we go. That would be websites, nancymatz.com, all lowercase, nancymatzauthor.com. That's Nancy, the N, M, and A are all capped. You've got youtube.com/Nancy Matz Psychic with the N, M, N, P capped. Here's the books. Help get me out of this funk. Two Worlds, Developing Your Psychic Skills. And The Unwilling Sacrifice. And those can be purchased at Amazon. All right, guys. We will see you, or we will together see you next Friday. I will see you on Sunday. Okay? Have a good weekend.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.